Hi, I'm Elizabeth Dawson, and we're talking about successful retirement tips. Everyone that I meet always wants to retire last week. So how do we actually get there? So a couple of things that we want to talk about right now. It has a lot to do with the economy or has a lot to do with the market, but it's all about risk and trying to time risk effectively or efficiently. Well, that's kind of hard to do if we don't have a crystal ball, right? So one of those things that I would recommend now, because most people are putting all their hard-earned savings into a 401k or a SEP or something of that nature for a retirement plan. And do you know your risk there? Have you done a risk assessment? Have you done a risk analysis? You know, what was the maximum drawdown on those losses when losses actually occurred? So there's a good friend of mine that basically has continued to coin this phrase, losses hurt you more than gains help you. So you want to kind of see the losses of the history to know what you're looking forward for the future. So again, number 2 is high inflation. What does high inflation mean? Well, think about a car. Doesn't it cost more for a car today than it did 5 years ago? What about the cost for gas? That's constantly a floating number, right? Cost for groceries. Those are changing every day. We were kind of joking around about another subject, and it was about organics. People are really wanting to buy organics. It's so much more expensive today. So those are costs that aren't getting cheaper. Those are costs that are getting more expensive. So while we're working, it's great because we have more and more income coming in. We're working hard for our income, and there's probably some raises along the way. But whatever we have saved when we get to retirement, that's what's got to create that income at that time. And we want to basically avoid a major market correction with risk before you're getting ready to retire, because then you might not be able to retire and enjoy it so much. And especially if our market goes down again, which we think it will, can we have another 2008 or a 2000, 2001, 2002? Can we have those years again? The answer is yes. So you need to kind of see what your risk situation is, because if we have a loss, then we're really never going to be able to plan for inflation. And then the third thing we want to bring up is low interest rates. We're in a very low interest rate environment right now. I just read something this morning that said the 10-year Treasury bond was actually about a little higher than 1.5%. We've never seen these numbers. You know, countries are sending money into our country because we have a positive yield of 1.5% after 10 years, that someone can get 1.5% on their money. Other countries are having a negative interest rate on their 10-year bond yields. So this is why there's so much coming in, but the more money that comes in, the lower those interest rates will still continue to fall. So does that affect you as the average consumer? It most certainly does. So think about these things, especially when you hear me saying this, and then maybe you listen to a business report, or you maybe get our economic report and you see these things, because this should spark some information for you to think about. Risk is not allowed. We have to mitigate our risk. And inflation is going to happen, so we've got to plan for those inflationary dollars that we need to have when we get to retirement. And then when you wrap it all up together and you kind of look at it all, you need to make sure you have the right written retirement financial plan that's going to make it happen for you. So if you want more tips, please stay tuned for successful retirement financial tips, because this is the way you want to do it. You want to retire once. You want it to be successful, you want to enjoy it, you want to have cost of living increases just as when you were working, and you want to be able to enjoy the life that you've created and that you've dreamed to have your entire working years, to be able to have the best retirement of your life. The information provided in this show is for informational and educational purposes only. This show is not investment advice, nor is it intended to address the financial needs of any particular viewer. The opinions expressed on this show are not intended to be an endorsement of any particular investment strategy or service of any other kind. You must make an independent decision regarding investments or strategies mentioned throughout the show. Before acting on information in this show, you should consider whether it is suitable for your particular situation and strongly consider seeking advice from a financial advisor.